Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Moseley, and I'm the CEO of IBIS. And welcome to Leading Lights. Today, we have another leading light from our industry, where we're going to learn about the strategic direction right at the heart of the collision repair industry. I'm really excited to have with me today Michael Macaluso, who is President and Executive Vice President of Paint, Collision and Glass for Driven Brands. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Jason. Great to be here and appreciate the time to talk with you today.
Great. How are you doing today? How's life?
You know what, life is great. You know, considering the challenging times we're all facing,
Sure.
but cannot complain. Thankfully, you know, health-wise, business-wise, things are doing exceptionally well considering the circumstances, and really happy to be here to share our story and our perspective in this great series.
Great. So, first question, Michael. President and Executive Vice President, Paint, Collision and Glass. That sounds like a monumental job. So, just tell us a little bit about what your responsibilities are and which brands come under your jurisdiction.
Absolutely, yeah. So I have the privilege of leading our paint, collision, and glass segment within Driven Brands. And Driven Brands is a leading automotive aftermarket organization that predominantly focuses on franchised retail automotive aftermarket platforms, as well as corporate-owned stores within the same industries. So my business responsibility is within the paint, collision, and glass segment, where we have iconic leading brands like CarStar, Abra, Fix Auto USA, which is our most recent acquisition and the most recent great organization to join the Driven Brands portfolio, Maaco, which is a leader within the paint space, and Univan, which is a 220-store glass retail operation based exclusively in Canada. And amongst that group, we have roughly 1,500 locations across North America, doing almost $2 billion in US dollar sales, and serving hundreds of thousands and millions of customers across North America within the paint space, the full collision DRP arena, and the glass replacement and repair space as well.
Wow, so quite a complex and intricate supply chain that you have there, Michael. So tell me a little bit about today. We're obviously in this strange world of the pandemic. We're starting to come out of that, although we don't know how quickly we're all going to sort of come out of that business-wise and recover. But what do you see as been the main challenges within that for you over the past few months, and how's that affected your business strategy, and what have you had to do to sort of regroup your focus?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been fortunate across North America that all of our businesses have been deemed essential. So they've all remained open according to government regulations across Canada and the USA. So providing vital services directly to frontline workers, those that support in the pandemic, and so on. So for more than 100 days now in North America, at very least, supporting those that are really in the fight against COVID-19 has been something that we've taken very seriously. And of course, first and foremost, over the past 100 days and for the next many days in this pandemic, the health and safety of our franchisees, our store owners, our staff, our insurance partners has been paramount. So as we ensured we had the right protocols and safety measures in place to stay open, to support, albeit a reduced market, of course, with fewer individuals driving since March, essentially, we've had to refocus ourselves to ensure the safety of our staff, customers, partners in the new world, essentially, as well as how do we ensure great success really in a market that has unfortunately declined dramatically. We are starting to see great improvements in car counts, vehicle miles driven, those requiring our services, whether it be pent-up demand or new demand. And what we've learned in this crisis and in this pandemic is the importance of having a clear, simple, operational business plan. Some of our key initiatives like virtual estimating, which may have taken 12 months in the past, we literally accomplished and rolled out across all of our stores within 12 days. So we've learned to be much, much quicker, be much more efficient, respond to the needs of the marketplace, and adjust in a more robust way. All things that are good outcomes of a very troubling and difficult pandemic. So I definitely don't want to reduce the importance and the magnitude of the crisis that we're dealing with. But within that, we've learned to be a better company. Through challenge, comes great opportunity. And within those opportunities, we're just laser focused on how do we best serve our insurance partners, the retail customer, all the stakeholders within the industry, just to make sure we really have a simple, I don't mean easy, but certainly a simple, effective, and clear plan to roll out any new initiatives. Unfortunately, we've seen some declines within the business since, of course, the onset of the pandemic, and as I mentioned, some very strong and gradual increases. And what we've been focused on really is just ensuring our performance, so our KPIs, particularly within our collision businesses, Abra, CarStar, Fix Auto USA, Univan in Canada, continue to exceed expectations and deliver great new services to our partners to capture more market share so that we can emerge and grow out of this pandemic a bigger, better, stronger, more efficient, but more importantly, more effective organization.
Okay. So I think you mentioned a couple of things in there, Michael. So particularly what interested me, you talked about technology and you mentioned virtual estimating. We've spoken over the past few years in the collision industry about technology and new technologies, both in terms of process efficiency, such as virtual estimating, but also vehicle technology as well. We've also talked about skills gaps, skills challenges, getting young, skilled people into our sector. What do you think has been the effect of the last few months in changing that? It sounds like it's definitely expedited some elements of technology. Will it have delayed maybe the introduction of vehicle technology, or will that still come? And what effect do you think it will have, if any, on the skills landscape? I'd just really be interested to get your view on that.
Yeah, from the vehicle manufacturer side, and certainly just my view and what I've seen and read, and just my instinct based on my experiences, that I think accelerated change in the vehicle construct. It may be slightly different than what was originally planned at the end of 2019 or the middle of 2019, but I think the buying experience, especially directly from when you purchase a new vehicle or a used vehicle, I think will change. And for those of us in the aftermarket, regardless of what sector necessarily we're serving, if it's glass, heavy collision, insurance, whatever the case may be, we have to adapt to that same reality. The experience of using an iPhone or a smartphone is paramount in the buying habits across the entire vehicle lifespan. And that's not restricted only to us. So if I look at the vehicle manufacturer, their perspective on the construct of the vehicle may not have changed as much, but their delivery methods and the way they interact with the customer, the way they service their customer, even within their aftermarket, is definitely changing. And for us directly within the collision repair space, we have to adapt as well. If that customer is getting a different experience from the day one purchase of their vehicle, they're expecting that same type of experience to trail through the entire lifespan of owning that car. So for us, having a fully digitized experience, touchless, if that is the new normal throughout the entire process, offering valet, concierge, pickup, delivery, and that all comes from better use of technology, even from interacting with our insurance partners to have virtual load leveling opportunities, estimate repair scheduling directly after the first notice of loss. I think the repair methods maintain the same or remain the same. And that the evolution of that will continue to evolve just as how the car manufacturers change the construct of the vehicle. But I see the biggest change in the customer interaction and how we deliver our service in the collision repair space, going much more digitized, which it certainly was on that trajectory prior to the pandemic. I think things have just accelerated 2, 3, 4, 5 times more so because that the customer experience across the board, even just with buying groceries, has changed. And we have to adapt and stay ahead of that and ensure we're providing that customer with the same experience he or she is expecting in any retail business segment.
Yeah, I was very interested. You mentioned a word a few minutes ago about being laser focused in execution. So, as a business leader, as the guy responsible to make sure your teams and your business is successful, what are some of the key things that need to happen in taking strategy to real grassroots effective execution? What are some of the secrets, Michael? What are some of the things that you do very well in that area that you focus on?
Yeah, and so what we definitely focus on, and I myself, is I think keep things simple. And I don't mean focus on the easy wins. I mean keep simple, clear, limit to 3 to 5 key objectives over a certain time period. So when the pandemic struck and we had to adjust our business plan and our business strategy, and we wanted to focus on these 12 things to change our business approach, we had to narrow that down to 3 to 5 things. Let's execute those as cleanly, as crisply as possible, and then move on to the next group. Ensuring that they're simple, actionable goals with clear targets is massively important in today's environment and even in a quote unquote normal environment. And so what we like to do is just boil things down to its simplest forms, no more than 3 to 5, because as humans, our attention span can effectively probably focus only on 3 to 5, and just execute them with excellence. And when you have more than 1,000 locations and tens of thousands of employees who have to ultimately deploy these types of strategies, they have to be simple, effective, and they have to have bare, tangible results. If we're doing things just to feel good, they're probably not the right things to do. It has to feel good, to have an impact on the customer experience, one of the main KPIs that we have to serve with our insurance partners. So the most important thing, just from my perspective, by no means am I the guru in this, is keep it simple, keep it clear, keep it brief, and then just go do it. We can easily, Jason, get lost in the bureaucracy of things, and nothing irritates me more than that.
Absolutely. So the other big thing, Michael, that we've touched on is you mentioned a raft of different brands now that sit under you in this collision space. So I'm sure one of the things that most people would want to ask you is the business has grown. We've seen acquisition, consolidation, fixed auto. You particularly mentioned, that was a very recent thing that happened for you and Driven Brands. Can you tell us a little bit more about the fixed auto USA aspect, and also the sort of second part to that is what challenges does that bring now? Bringing more acquisitions. How do you keep the culture moving as you bring more and more people on? How do you keep that sense of purpose together? And how are you going to manage that diverse set of brands? So first of all, bit of background, if you wouldn't mind, on fixed auto, and then moving into how you bring all that portfolio together. Sure.
And we, within Driven Brands, we're extremely excited about the long-term future prospects within the collision repair industry. And that's one of the reasons why in the middle of this pandemic, we made the acquisition of Fix Auto USA. We believe in the long-term success of the business. Having iconic brands within our portfolio is something of great importance to us. And when we acquire a brand, it's also the people that come along with it that really makes the brand something special. So Fix Auto USA is more than 150 locations, headquartered in Southern California, San Diego to be precise, founded by Eric and Shelly Bickett and Paul Gange, 3 tremendous individuals with an incredible team across the USA. We're very, very attracted to the business opportunity, the brand presence that the Fix Auto USA franchisees had in their market. There's also 10 corporate-owned locations in Southern California that we acquired, so it enhances our collision corporate store-owned presence by an additional 10, which is extremely interesting for us. So we are We have a long-term view on the industry, and that certainly played a significant part in this partnership with Fix Auto USA. And what they bring to the table, what they brought to us, frankly, is a great geographic presence, predominantly across the western coast of the USA, which complements our two other collision brands, CarStar and Abra. A great operational platform, insurance relations, a great different way of doing things. And we fully intend to keep the Fix Auto USA brand, grow the Fix Auto USA brand, both within our existing franchisees and across the USA. We're extremely proud of the accomplishments of that entity and how can we bring it forward. Now, the complex part certainly is we also have CarStar with 720 locations across North America and Abra with 55, predominantly in the center part of the USA. So how do we effectively grow three iconic individual and separate brands under the Driven Brands portfolio? That's the big challenge, and that is the most exciting challenge. So to be the franchisor of choice in the USA, offering three great, I guess, options, is something that we're really excited about. So how do we do it? How do we continue to enhance each individual brand within the markets they serve is the continued challenge. But the brand recognition that each of those locations has within the communities they've served, oftentimes for decades, is not something that's lost on us. So we want to bring additional resources, analytics, smart thinking, business intelligence to complement an existing strong foundation within Fix Auto USA and just grow the brand as fast, as effective, and as great as we possibly can. And the same goes for CarStar and Abra. So there's similar goals, perhaps different pathways to get there, but we want to grow exponentially and ensure that the long-term, of course, short-term success of our partners across the board. And Fix Auto USA has it's been great for the past 2-3 months so far within our organization, and just setting the stage for post-pandemic, having some explosive growth.
So, Michael, any plans to move outside of Canada and the US yet?
So we're laser focused on our current business plan, but of course, as you know, anytime there's an opportunity or a discussion, we always look at an opportunity. But we're laser focused on being the best collision repair provider across North America. We see tremendous amounts of opportunity, what we call white space or open space across the US, even in Canada, with existing brands that we have. Certainly, we'll look at any opportunity we can, but we have a lot of work to do to make sure we continue to grow and be the best brand that we could possibly be in North America. But I would say never is definitely just something to say. But our current business plan continues for us just to ensure that we're the best collision platform in the USA and Canada with the brands that we have.
Okay, so the next 5 years, Michael, let's say we've got a crystal ball. What do you think are going to be your biggest challenges? Let's say top 3 biggest challenges in the next 5 years for the collision industry.
Yeah, I'm an eternal optimist, so every challenge is an opportunity, but I'll definitely sit on the challenge side of things. I think number 1 is people, and I don't restrict the people part only to skilled labor or unskilled labor within the collision repair industry. Just people's expectations, the customers' evolving needs for data, their needs for an integrated approach, an integrated claims process, and so on. So the challenge around people, but different segments within that with just the human element. Process, certainly, as the repair methodologies, as we've all known, continue to evolve and change. However that future will look, I don't think that will get any easier or more simplified. And that dovetails directly into, of course, technology. As that consumer post-pandemic especially changes their buying habits, changes their needs and expectations, I think the next 5 years, we're going to see an even greater acceleration of the use of technology within the collision repair industry, whether it's vehicle manufacturing or even just, again, consuming our service and our product. So certainly people, process, and technology, 3 significant challenges. also opportunities I have to mention
Exactly.
To capitalize on. And consolidation, I know we continue to discuss that, Jason, across the board, and it's been a discussion point for years upon years. That will continue to present pressures across the supply chain, and how do we best ensure that we succeed in that consolidating environment throughout the entire value chain, as insurers consolidate, car manufacturers, technology companies, collision repairers, as that consolidation continues to grow, which I strongly feel it will, especially now considering the pandemic circumstances of COVID-19. How do one best adapt and thrive in those environments? And we're positioning ourselves for as much of the known and as the unknown. And again, what we've learned is we can pivot fast and we can adjust. And I think that's a core benefit of the Driven Brands platform. We can move very, very quickly, even for a large company. And we have to, because we'll never know. We have our 5-year plan, but we'll never know what will happen in 5 months from now.
So, Michael, we've known each other for quite a few years now. You've been heavily involved with IBIS during that time. You've been a regular attendee at our global summit for many years, coming to listen to what's happening with collision repair around the world. And obviously, more recently, we've started to partner together, particularly with the CarStar brand, around the more regional events, so a recent IBIS USA event. So tell me a little bit about what IBIS means to you and why you keep working with it, working with us, as part of being an industry thought leader, and what is it that attracts you to the IBIS proposition?
Yeah, IBIS has been, for myself personally, I've been attending the events for more than a decade. I know CarStar even for much longer. So our roots within Driven connected to IBIS started through CarStar in a longstanding partnership. And we saw many, many years ago the need to look globally for solutions, answers, what's happening in one part of the country. They could be 2-3 years ahead. They could be 2-3 years behind. But that best practice sharing, info learning that we saw with IBIS in advance of many others more than a decade ago was something that attracted us to the global summits to start. And as that continued to evolve, certainly under your leadership, we felt the need to become more and more directly involved in terms of partnerships and sponsorships and the like, both in the USA and at your global summits. And what we really feel and we're strongly about is the collision industry can only advance if we're all kind of advancing together, so to speak. And IBIS is really the only global hub of opportunity to encourage this conversation, even something like this, to ensure that those best practice ideas that's happening in the United Kingdom, which could be further down the line in telematics, as an example, or certifications, which is what we saw. And we took some of those best practices within our organization. And as other examples, it just triggered us to do some tours globally to understand how we can better improve our business. We don't have all the answers. We fully identified that. Not all the answers are in North America. And the answers are certainly within the people that serve within the industry. So we are absolutely big time supporters of IBIS. We hope you continue your platform in whatever form it entails in the short term and long term, virtual or hopefully back to live in person, which we're looking forward to. But we strongly encourage you to stay focused on your clear priorities, which you've laid out. It helps our businesses. Obviously, the people-centric items, the changing insurance dynamics, which Europe is always, it's always very intriguing to hear some of the great speakers out of Europe and the connections you place with the manufacturers on the certification side and bringing truly that global feel, which really it is today. Perhaps a decade ago it wasn't, but if you look at even the car manufacturers, the global stage is where we need to hear the implications within our business. So you guys have done excellent work, and we just hope you keep doing it and keep doing it in the ways that you're doing it.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. And of course, it's important for us as well to have people leading such influential collision repair businesses like yourself taking part in that and guiding IBIS in what we can do better. So Michael, listen, it's been absolutely fantastic to talk to you today. I've really learned some key things about leadership in the collision repair sector. Some wonderful things you've got going on in the Driven Brands portfolio, and some really exciting opportunities. So, Michael, I think you and Driven Brands are clearly a leading light. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you face to face in the not too distant future. Thank you, Michael.
Likewise. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.